Yes, we are joined now by the Shadow Paymaster General, Labour's John Ashworth. Thank you for coming and talking to us. It was, how would you describe it, the debate last night, and how do you think your leader did?
It was a strong performance from Keir, and I think he outlined the change that he wants to bring to this country after 14 years of chaos and decline under the Conservatives. But I think Rishi Sunak was exposed as desperate because he lied last night. He lied about Labour's tax plans. What he said is categorically untrue. Labour won't put up income tax, won't put up national insurance, won't put up VAT. And in fact, Rishi Sunak is so desperate that he is lying. It reminded me of the lies Boris Johnson told about Partygate. Rishi Sunak was exposed as no different, no better.
When you say lying, are you talking about one thing in particular? Because the one thing I think people would take away from last night's debate is £2,000 as a figure, because it was mentioned over and over and over again. What is the situation with regard to Rishi Sunak's claim over and over again that Labour would raise taxes by £2,000?
That is a desperate lie, categorically untrue. Every single policy that Labour is putting forward in this campaign is fully costed and fully funded. So when we say we're going to deliver 2 million more appointments in the NHS a year, 40,000 more appointments a week, we're going to change the non-dom tax regime to fund that. When we say we're going to recruit 6,500 more teachers for our schools and invest in mental health support in our schools, we're going to levy VAT on private school fees. But we're not going to put up income tax, we're not going to put up national insurance, we're not going to put up VAT. So he was lying about that.
That £2,000 didn't refer to that, did it? It referred to a document that the Conservatives have said was signed off by Treasury officials, and we heard from Henry Zeffman earlier on in the last half hour, the Chief Permanent Secretary to the Treasury, saying actually those figures aren't signed off.
There you go. Black and white. The lie in black and white.
What I would ask you, though, Mr Ashworth, is bearing in mind Sir Keir Starmer is aiming to be the next Prime Minister. He did not make that clear.
No.
If you watched that debate, you would come out and think that that £2,000, there was credence to that figure. Why did he not put forward the evidence that you had in order to challenge that?
You've just put forward the evidence. It's a slam dunk proof of Rishi Sunak's big desperate lie. That is your proof.
A letter written 2 days ago to Labour. Did Sir Keir not know about the letter?
Well, that is the proof that Rishi Sunak lied. And just as Boris Johnson lied about Partygate, Rishi Sunak's lying here. It proves he's no different and he's no better. Every policy we put forward in this campaign, like our plans to deliver 2 million more appointments in the NHS, like our plans to cut energy bills for good by putting a windfall tax on the gas and oil producers, that will allow us to bring energy bills down and invest in renewable energy, good, well-paid jobs, including for here in the northwest. We've explained where the money is coming from. In contrast, Rishi Sunak, in a desperate scattergun way, has racked up 71 billion of unfunded commitments. He cannot say where the money is coming from or what savings will materialise. He'll put up tax just as he has done in his last 14 years.
Which you're counting in that £46 billion for getting rid of national insurance. Yes. That is not a promise by the Conservatives, is it? So what you're accusing Rishi Sunak of doing, in effect, that's doing exactly the same thing. And what it does is it confuses the electorate. It confuses the voter. How can they know who is telling the truth?
Well, Jeremy Hunt and Rishi Sunak keep putting on their leaflets and keep coming around TV studios saying they're getting rid of this tax. So it's perfectly legitimate to cost that at what it is, which is £46 billion. And it can only be funded by taxing pensioners more, cutting the pension, or cutting the National Health Service. And Rishi Sunak, rather than lying about Labour's plans, needs to come clean about his own reckless plans.
They have said this is an aspiration, that it's not a pledge. And so using that £46 billion number is confusing, perhaps misleading.
I've never been on this sofa before. I've done your interviews down the line. I think if I came along and said we've got a £46 billion aspiration, you'd be quite rightly asking me, where's the money coming from? If he's got a £46 billion commitment, he's got to explain what he will cut to fund it. Is it the pension he will cut? Is it the NHS he will cut? Or will it be more tax on pensioners? He refuses to answer that question. He would just rather lie about Labour's plans.
Do you understand why it's so confusing for people watching? The IFS, Paul Johnson from the IFS has talked about there's no openness about the real choices from the winners of this election. There is a huge public spending black hole. that is going to have to be paid for. All of these pledges are going to have to be paid for. But if you're not raising taxes, where is this money going to come from? And it's not tinkering around the edges. Big money is needed.
Well, we've explained some of the changes. The windfall tax on the big gas and oil producers to fund our plans to cut energy bills for good and create thousands of good, well-paid jobs. We've taken the tough choice to put VAT on private school fees, but that will allow us to recruit more teachers in state schools. We're going to close that non-domicile loophole that the super wealthy take advantage of. That will allow us to deliver 2 million more appointments in the NHS. And look, if you can't get out of the house because you need a knee replacement or a hip replacement, getting that operation sooner is transformative for your life. That is not tinkering. That's really, really important for people.
What people are telling us is that they want detail, and they particularly want manifesto detail. When is your manifesto going to be produced? When are voters going to be able to read and see for themselves what you have planned, what you have costed?
I don't have the specific date of the manifesto launch. People will see the manifestos very soon, I am absolutely sure. And when the manifesto comes out, you'll see that every single one of our policies is fully costed and will explain where every penny piece is coming from. Rishi Sunak can't give you that promise because he's racked up billions of pounds of commitments and he's got no idea how to pay for them. I'll tell you who will pay for them. Working people with more tax or putting up mortgages again, just like with Liz Truss.
Looking at the front pages and the poll that was released immediately after the debate last night, it was fairly tight, but the YouGov poll, 51% for Rishi Sunak versus 49% for Keir Starmer. You've got another chance. There is another UK leaders debate that's going to be held later on this month. Does Sir Keir Starmer need to do better? Well,
I think there's another poll that's just come out which has it the other way round, as it happens. But look, polls are going to come and go. The only poll that matters is the general election day. And if people want change after 14 years of failure, if people don't want to wake up the day after the election and switch on the BBC and hear you saying, last night Rishi Sunak has got 5 more years, if people don't want 5 more years of the Tories running down our NHS, they've got to vote on general election day and vote for Labour, and that's the only poll that matters.
John Ashworth, we appreciate you coming in. You've got another 4 weeks to go. Thank you.